Yo, welcome to Just Saying episode 22. Lots to go over. It's been one hell of a weekend, and we're going to unload all of it and talk about it. Now, gentlemen, Bromeo, Sean, and Eli, we're very pleased to have, and we're going to talk to him in a moment. But before we talk to him, I wanted to ask all of you a quick question, and that question is this: what is the definition of prescience?
Of prescience.
Prescience. It's a great word. Prescience.
I wouldn't be able to
He's
tell you.
Googling.
He's
course
Googling.
I
Okay.
am.
So I am going to show you a picture that defines prescience. This is the definition of prescience. This picture was taken back in April last year at Comic-Con down in Cape Town. And prescience, for those who wish to know, means foreknowledge, knowing something about the future. And in that picture is me, and then to the left of me, or on the left of the picture, is VK Salen, on the right is Ruben, and it was quite appropriate that that's the T-shirt I chose to wear on the day. So there you go. Prescience, a little bit of education to start off this podcast. We have in the booth with us for the evening, Mr. Eliakim. How's it, Eli?
How's it, guys? How's it?
So, well, I guess we got out the gate. You got to tell us about big moves during last week. So tell us about that.
Well, I mean, it's been two splits. Two regionals, and I think it's been two teams so far already. So yeah, big move to Jeff and Stratic. Two solid players. Excited. So that's the move.
And Eli, my question out the gate, and I'm sure Bromeo and Sean will have, and if they don't, they're quickly scrambling to find a question to ask you. But is how are you going to stay together into the next split? Because one of the big frustrations, and it's something we have lamented on this podcast often, is the high turnover rate among SSA rosters. So I don't know how much dating was done before you guys committed to this roster, and if you're going to commit to it long term.
You see, long term is difficult. I think with the ever-changing system and region, I think it's difficult. I think it's not only me that's suffering out there. I think there's a lot of players out there suffering in general. But long term is the game, and long term is where you want to be. And I think, to be honest with you guys, there is other plans ahead of time that I have in mind, that I'm going to be more focused on the long-term side of things. Whereas now I think I'm more enjoying, things and honestly, the hope is long-term. That would be great. But yeah, I think the overall stance is most of the players are suffering. Because of that long-term thing. Long-term is where you want to be. A lot of short-term teams happening, they don't make it, or they don't make the best results, and they kind of fizzle out or whatnot. But yeah, long-term is where I definitely want to land up, for sure.
Define suffering. What do you mean? Who's suffering, and what is the suffering?
I mean, you got to look at it at a stats perspective. How many players, SSA players, are now, getting paid less or not even getting paid at all? I mean, how many players, there's players out there suffering. I'm one of them. There's lots of players out there suffering. I think, it's part of the game, it's part of the system, it's part of how things, are supposed to roll. But essentially, with so much pressure and, all these things happening, long-term essentially is where you want to be. Through thick and thin, because there's going to be thicks, there's going to be thins, there's going to be, losses and wins. You don't want to just, fizzle out and switch and swap. But I think, long term is where you want to be in general. But I think every player is suffering. Lots of the SSA players are suffering.
Fair enough. Gents?
Well, I've got a question, just to build on to what we've just been talking about. So you said long term in Rocket League, and long term in Rocket League is a very big variable, because it could mean next split or it could mean next year.
Okay.
What is long term for you?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think you got to look at it as if, I mean, what is long term in Rocket League is the real question, I think.
Yeah, sure, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the question.
What is long term for me? Yeah. Actually,
Well,
I don't know.
well,
I
okay. Well, let's
wouldn't be able
ask
to
a
tell
more
you.
specific question along that. How old are you now?
I'm 21.
And how long do you foresee yourself playing the game at the RLCS level?
You know, as long as as long as it's viable, I think, I remember my first interview with you, Greybeard, on Rocket Dreamers. I remember being very optimistic about, making a career out of this and building something out of this and kind of like 110%ing this. But you got to look at it from a realist point of view as well. And if it's viable to carry on playing, I will play. I love this game. I love the esport. I love the competitive side of things, whether it's great results or not. I love it, and I'm gonna play until I just feel it's not worth my time anymore. Genuine.
Okay, so we should get a good few years out of you yet.
Oh, 100%. You're definitely not getting rid of me just yet. I'm very sorry to everyone there. I'm not leaving this game.
He's
So
21. He's still young.
I've just got a follow-up question to that, and I've been harping on it for quite a while, and I know Greybeard has, about roster continuity, and we touched upon it briefly.
Mm.
And I mentioned a stat, if anybody was listening, on the RLCS broadcast, that in the time since Limitless last lost against South African opposition. They lost against French class in the 22-23 season, right? In that time, Guns had been through 5 roster changes. I just counted, you have been through 5 roster changes as well since the last time Limitless lost on SSA soil. So my question to you is that is continuity important for you as a player, or is it completely fine to switch up rosters every season or so?
Difficult one again. It depends on the situation. I think, from my experience, I would say some rosters don't work. I think it's all about making it work if you're willing to put the effort in. There's a lot of factors that come into play with that. I think where my mind is at right now, the longevity is my brother. If my brother has the zest and the power mentally to attack the region in the competitive scene, I will see a long-term stance with him. But in a general sense, I think it's difficult. I think long term is where, like I said, long term is where you want to be. But throughout my career, it's been very switchy and swappy. Rosters and vibes. And personally, if you're not winning, sometimes you got to switch it up and look for it. And maybe that's not the best decision. Maybe that's the best, strategy behind the whole ROCS season. But then again, I guess that's what the journey has offered me, is not longevity. Some players have got that longevity option, and to be fair, I've been kicked and dropped, and
Yeah,
even
no,
myself
for
left,
sure.
and there's part of this. It's a lot of parts. So, but longevity is like that limitless roster. Just in general, having that like Snowy and another player for so long, and then maybe getting another guy in, and then over time, it's still you're still holding that. That's very important. That's super rare actually as well. But yeah, I think life has its way and career has its way with you, where you kind of get dropped or picked up, or. But yeah, 5 roster changes quite a bit. That's quite a bit.
Well, no, it's not an indictment on you, because this is a scene issue. It's not something
Okay.
that is, indicative of one team. It's basically everybody else in the scene except for Limitless. I mean, the French class team that beat Limitless had Sweaty on it. That's how long of a time ago it was. So,
Wow. Okay.
it was Werty, Wilu, and Sweaty, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Strong roster. Yeah, strong roster.
So that was the team that beat Limitless, and I think, do we give enough value to continuity? Because I think Limitless we talk about them having great players and things like that, but nobody talks about the fact that these guys have been together for years now.
100%.
So I'm sure that it plays a part in something, but because there's no other team in SSA that's been around for even longer than a season, we can't even begin to compare and say, well, Limitless is doing it this and this team is doing it. Nobody is. So
Yeah.
that's why I've been asking this question is like,
Yeah,
what do the players actually think? What do you think? Is it valuable?
it is so valuable. Like if it is so valuable. If I had to put myself in a situation where it would be a perfect world, I would have picked two very solid players in this region, and we just grind out. I don't care what mistakes happen. You work it. Anything you put effort in. I think through the learning curves of it being, I've noticed, okay, there's only one team to really last throughout this, this whatever we're going through. Um, I think I see that, and I have plans. Essentially, any three players, yes, there's play styles, yes, there's vibe check, and yes, there's all those other factors. But if you all dedicated to one specific goal, you put three great players, Monkey Moon, Zen, Vatira on a team, they will do good because they're all in a mindset to do something, and they all have a vision. And when you put these minds together, you can um, adjust and change and formulate and form. Right. I think definitely the bigger picture behind all of that is definitely long term in a region like this, SSA, when we are fending off our own money and our own everything. I think the longevity of sticking in teams was a mistake, definitely on not only my end but a lot of other players in general. I think there would have been a lot. Look at Gen 6 for a good example. I mean, they went through VS and they won VS. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was an incredible result. They haven't won every other tournament, but they didn't decide like because this tournament, wasn't the greatest result, they're going to now change roster. And look at them, they're doing damage on us yesterday. So I definitely think that moving forward, I think SSA players should look to a Ravi and Devour type, stick to your guy, stick to your team, work. You all three want it, you can get it. That's kind of the vibe now. And I agree totally with what you're saying as well.
How old is Dalton?
17, turned 17 a few days ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I want to ask questions on that now too.
yeah, okay, well, shoot, Sean.
So, for me personally, I don't know if anybody else may have seen him like earlier than myself, but for me, I think it was last year VS where I saw the introduction of Dalton. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
planned.
what was he? Did he play Rocket League like before? Has he been playing as long as you? Did you introduce him recently? Have you been coaching him on the down
Yeah.
low? You know,
Yeah, I think
like what's the story of Dalton? What can you tell us about the introduction of
I'll be
your
honest.
younger brother?
There was always like this thing where I was like, you won't be able to do what I can do, especially with the time. Like, I was in the scene so early. Like, you'll never be able to have that same weight. But then again, you never know. I'm like, every day I sit there and I go, oh my gosh, he's getting better and better. I mean, we play ranked every day essentially, and every day it seems like a dream is coming true to me because it would be a dream come true to sit, and play competitively with my brother. That would be incredible. But the story behind it was Comic Con was the place I thought, okay, we can either not attend or I can bring my brother who's, you know, wants to be something and give him that experience gap between everyone else. And that's what I did. And Werty, so humble of him to allow that and to to put even his like own results in his career on the line for that moment, knowing that it was a bit of a a stretch, but knowing that it would be benefiting him in the long run and not us. I think so it was incredible. And ever since that land, I don't know if Jeff has even said to me the other day after his land, and Jeff popped off at the Comic Con
Yeah.
land. I'm going to just say that he said even after that land, his level just increased, and it just he feels like he's. And so I hoped that that would be the same for Dalton, and we could put him in a position where like we could just work. And that is the goal. That's the long-term goal. That's behind the scenes. And I think it was a good decision. And I think I train him behind the scene. I give him all those little experience notes that I could maybe bring. I'm not the most mechanical player in the world, but I've got a lot of experience in the game behind me, and I could definitely give that to him and boost whatever he wants to do. And I think, yeah, that's the goal. That's behind the scenes working. So, I mean, it could work out that it doesn't happen and it all ends up like, it doesn't happen, but you never know. So, yeah.
Well, we will definitely touch on more issues as the podcast wears on. We are going to move on to signups now, and we're signups closed at 5 o'clock today, and one of the teams that I'm going to talk about, because they have been signed by an org, was last regionals checkers 50-50, Tweak, Serenity, and Solo Rage. And I went and had a look at the signups at 5:30, and I didn't see them there. So I messaged Serenity, and I'm like, "Hey, have you guys signed up?" He says, "Yeah, we're just having some last minute talks with the org and whatever. We'll probably register tomorrow." And I'm like, "Bro, the signups close in 28 minutes." Anyway, so they did register at around 10 to 5. So, but they got in there. Total signups. Now, it is usual for the signups numbers to decline as the split goes on. Regional number 1 is always the highest of the season. And for us, we had 128 signups in Regional 1. A bunch of them were incomplete teams. I think that was whittled down to around 114 complete teams and teams who, because we always lose a few to players who are either banned or signed up in multiple regions or whatever. And then in Regional 2, there are 114 signups, and I can't remember what the final team count was, about 97, I think. And then now on Friday, when I checked, we had 57 signups, and I really thought there was going to be a massive downtrend. But at 5 o'clock today, 114 teams had signed up. 10 of those are incomplete, so 104 complete teams, which is quite impressive in a way. However, the next obvious question is, well, how many of those are SSA teams? And it's a solid question. Throughout the splits, we have had 40% of the signups being SSA teams, and yeah, exactly. And where that stands now is pretty much bang on 40%. Out of 104 teams, 45 are SSA. And that includes mixed teams where it's 1 or 2/3 SSA. So we are definitely a minority within inside our own region, which is fun and games, but it's been kind of par for the course, I guess. A couple of notable things from the signups. Obviously, Death Cloud Esports have Bigfoot is no longer there. Eli has stepped in his place. And then the other big change is Chocoranilla. Chocoranilla are no more, which is a bit of a sadness. But Nitro and Tristan have stuck together, so the chocolate portion of Chocoranilla are still together, and they have brought a new Nilla in, which is Dukla's. And I'm not sure, Eli, your thought on Dukla's in for Zyro.
Well, I'll be honest. I know Duclas very well in person, so I'm going to be very biased here. So there's absolutely nothing to do with Zyro here. But great pickup. Absolutely brilliant pickup. Duclas, my man. Legit. Great. Awesome.
So biased.
And honestly, if you had to look at the roster, Tristan, Duclas, and Nitro, it's very well orientated players, very good friends. A roster I would personally go, okay, there could be damage done. So yeah, not a bad roster.
They have made top 16. Did they make top 8 in the first? I can't remember. They've definitely made top 16 in both. Well, the Chocoranilla made top 16 in both regionals, and will be shooting at least for that in this one coming. And then there up on the screen, you see Relentless of Star, Willu, and Zany. And They were formerly Decimate Gaming, but they are no longer with the org. I don't know if that was around their results, and certainly their results have been disappointing, not making top 16 at all so far. So back to being relentless and looking for an org. And Eli, this is a roster that has surprised me in terms of their performance. I mean, on paper, they should be making top 16 minimally.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, but on paper, I should be making better results as well. In the rosters I was a part of in the last two regionals, I would say this regionals have become a lot harder. I don't think that it's difficult. I really do feel it's tough. They're a great roster. I mean, we lost to them. Myself, Jeff, and Stratic, we lost them in the finals yesterday in a minor tournament. Was our first run actually. So they're not a bad roster, but I definitely see them doing better than what they've done for sure. Yeah.
That's fair.
Maybe it's just maybe you could count it towards nerves, because isn't this like Zany's first time in like a decent roster?
Yeah, for sure.
Sitting with
Zany is relatively new, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. So maybe it could be account for that.
And then Unity have dropped Olympic.
I saw that.
And Lackstar's been rolled out of retirement and will be on the Unity roster.
Wasn't he their coach?
Exactly. Now he's a player coach.
Let's go, Lucky. Nice.
I mean, I'm not complaining about that, but like, I don't know. I just found it very funny to see that Lackstar is now gone coach, now not coach, not retired, now playing RLCS all over again.
Got it. He's got it.
Back in the mix of things. And what were the other notes I made? Oh, this one's kind of sad because Ram is no longer in. Now, he was with Goated Baguette, which was Willant, Onizuma, and then Ram. And he's I don't have an exact reason. It seems like he's gotten, I think, pretty wrapped up with university or whatever, but he's not featuring in this next regional. And Willant and Onizuma have picked up a French player, a 2K player by the name of Leidene. So I have no idea. And I'm hoping, Willant has been on my radar as one of the big future talents. And hopefully he can show up there. Onizuma is one of the many people who I used to frequently see in my own lobbies. And when I saw him on a roster, I was like, okay, he's not that great a player. And he actually performed really well. They haven't gone very far. They've made top 32, but not into the top 16. And I'm not sure this is a roster that can go far. But sad to see the disappearance of Ram.
Agreed.
And the other note I made is just for more for the community scene is that Alex DeFatak, who was very involved in RSC and Bro, and who disappeared from all of it. He said, he had the excuse of real life to get on with, and now he's signed up along with two other Mauritians for RLCS, Arc, Alex DeFatak, and Monkey D Coffee, and I don't know those other two players, but so perhaps this will be the return of Alex. I'm not sure, but
I have no idea. This man literally disappeared from every server that we were all a part of, and then now
he ghosted us like
yes.
hard. It was like a breakup, and now he's with some other team.
This is like seeing your ex with someone else.
He's Instagramming with a new girl, a new partner.
Man, it's tough to see this. I haven't moved on yet, so damn.
It's actually hard. I'm quite sore about that one. Why would you do this to me?
Well, Alex, if you're if you're lurking out there, we want to have a conversation. We'd like you back, please.
Alex, we miss you, please. Respond to my DMs.
Come back. That's the signups. 104 teams. We'll see how many make it to final cut. Brackets for the qualifiers, I'm sure, will be released sort of Thursday-ish, if going by previous qualifiers has anything to do with it, or is any indication. And then Saturday, it all starts. It is double elimination on Saturday, 2 Swiss groups on Sunday to determine from those 104, and obviously the top 8 from the previous regional won't be playing until Sunday. But out of those 104, we will whittle down to 16 for the main event, starting on Friday, the 28th of February. And then RLC is broadcast, obviously, on the 1st and 2nd of March. So that's where we go to from here. And then next up is the Rocket League calendar. Now, we have finally put together a calendar for Rocket League, for all of the events for the coming year, just because there is a lot going on. And it is a public calendar that anybody can access. So if you have events, want to add things, you've got to get in touch and let us know. And this is pretty much what it looks like. I haven't figured out how to make it look good just yet.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but visually it's I don't know. It could be a lot better, and I'm actually trying to get back to the beginning of this. Oh, hold on a second. This has gone all the way to
the 23.
Yeah, 2023. That's clearly not what I was supposed to be doing.
When times were easier, when times were better. 2023.
The good times, eh?
when it was just Limitless sweeping everybody, and that was more interesting.
I thought that was the bad times. I now regret that.
So and it's kind of color. It's kind of color. I'm on search. That's what's confusing me. Okay, there we go. So it's all color coded. The red events are RSC. The blue events are VS Gaming. The orange ones are RLCS, and the green ones are ACGL, I think it is. So this calendar is important because I'm going to be talking about it in a moment and going through some of the things that are coming up. But this is a public calendar. So if you want a wheel, I've posted it in my Discord. If you want it, DM me. I'll send it to you. So I want it so everybody knows what is going on, and it is going to be a very busy year. There is almost no time where there is no Rocket League action going on. And we can try and keep organized that way. And because I get questions all the time, like when is VS, when is this, when do we sign up? And every event will have a link to more information about that event and where to sign up for it, where to go and watch it on Twitch if it's going to be there. So and not all of that information is there. It's populating as we go, but please do go and make use of that. And
if y'all don't follow Graybeard, you need to get in there.
Who just followed? Korean guy. We got a Korean guy who came and followed. Well, thank you for following, Korean guy. Good to have you here. The next item on the agenda is VS Gaming, and I was a little frustrated with VS last week because they, out of the blue, announced, hey, the first VS event for the year is going to be like this weekend. There was almost no time to sign up, and it was this weekend past, so there were only 13 people that signed up for it. And we'll go through who signed up and what the results were. And then I'm going to explain how VS is going to work this season and how you qualify for the LAN, how you gain points, and when, more importantly, this is all going to happen. Let's look at the weekend. This is it here. VS Gaming Cup number 1. And the broad picture of VS is that there are going to be 4 VS Cups, 2 VS Minors, 1 VS Major. All of them, you accumulate points which go toward qualification for the LAN at Comic-Con in September. And you will find no official acknowledgement that there's going to be a LAN at Comic-Con because it's never publicly announced until I guess all the contracts are signed and stuff. But if the last 3 years are anything to go by, the VS finals will be at Comic-Con last weekend in September. So here you go. And the beady-eyed amongst us will have spotted that I misspelled Cosmico in the quarterfinal section. So these were the 8 teams that made it through to quarterfinals. Brickbusters, no idea who they are. Unity, Azura Gaming, Cosmico, White Rabbit Gaming, Ox Gaming, Blikkiesdorp, which is a great name, and Highball. And Unity, Cosmico, White Rabbit, and Highball made it through to the semi-finals. And these were best of 3. It was best of 3 until the final, which was best of 5, which is an interesting format, but there you go. Cosmico beat Unity 2-0, and Highball beat White Rabbit Gaming 2-0, which brought us to the final. Went to 5 games, and Highball winning game 5, beating out Cosmico 3-2, which is that's a big result.
Big, huge.
And I know
I honestly thought Cosmico was taking it, but no.
Yeah.
Seeing Highball there is impressive. I
do know that there is a coach who's in chat who's been, and I don't know how public it is, but he's not their full-time coach, but he's been in touch with them about having some coaching sessions. I don't know if that's happened. I don't know how that's going. Well, there you go. He's outed himself in chat. So, and I'm assuming it's Data Lead. Or Data Lead. I actually don't know how he pronounces that, but he reached out to me and said, hey, he's keen on doing some coaching for some SSA teams. He can't do it full time, but maybe can have a few sessions. And he and Skill still got in touch. So clearly there have been some coaching sessions, but Highball looking more and more threatening all the time with these 2 kids and the uncle.
Very well done. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I played them in RLCS, and I was very skeptical as to how this roster would work out, and it flows like it literally flows so nice. So massive respect to Skill still specifically to pick up those 2, these 2 goats, these 2 youngsters that have the passion. Wow, what a roster! Beautiful.
So I've got a question on that. You said you didn't think it was going to flow nice or flow well or whatever the case may be. But
yeah,
my question is, what do you think makes them successful?
I mean, you got 2 guys that they play 2s every day, like religiously together. These guys know each other very well, and they haven't made any results. They're very young. They want to prove themselves. The fact that Skill still, clued that up. I initially thought that the gap was going to be a bit too large. I mean, that was speculation, to be honest with you. It was more like an assumption. But wow, they came out hot, even from the first initial scrims and even in RLCS. I mean, there was one scrim that went very much in the team I was in at that current point in time in our favor, and they actually took us in RLCS, and it just goes to show it's like these high pressure moments. I think Skill Steel brought a very good calmness to the team and a very good experience side of the roster to the team, which really pushes them further than a lot of other rosters for sure.
Now, let's talk about VS and how it rolls out and what these events are. So as I've said, there are 4 cups. Now, each tournament has a weighting. The cups have the lowest weighting. The minors have mid weighting, and the major has the highest weighting in terms of the points you accumulate for LAN. The downside, the disappointing side, is that there are no cash prizes for these, which is hugely disappointing, but it is what it is. So you're literally playing for a spot at LAN, and that might be I don't know. It is what it is. Do with that what you will. So the points as they stand now, you can see them here. Highball got themselves 15 points for coming first. Cosmico got 10, and then 7, 5, 2, and so it goes. And that's pretty much the point structure for the cups. You get points all the way to 16th place. 13th to 16th get 1 point. And then for the minors, first place is 30 points, second 20, 14, blah, 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 as you see there. And then last, which you cannot see on screen, which is kind of frustrating, and I can't move it over, but is 45. Well, maybe if I make this smaller, you can see it. No, that's not. It's still not working. Never mind. So 45 points, 30. So it's possible to miss out on one or two of the cups and still make enough points to make LAN. How LAN works is the top 8 teams, the 8 teams with the most number of points will qualify for LAN. And the schedule you can go and find on the calendar that I just showed you. All the VS Cups are there, the minors, the majors, when it is all happening. And it's all happening on Facet, which is another little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping they'd move to Start, mostly for the high school league, because it's very complicated for schools to run their leagues through Facet, but never mind. Again, if you want the links, go to the calendar. Each VS event has the Discord, has all the links and information that you need. So that is how VS Gaming is going to work for this year. If there are Green Soup is here. Green Soup, who's now the big boss at VS Gaming. Moon Cow retired. No, retired is the wrong word. Resigned at the end of last year. Green Soup took over.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Moon Cow went off to go. He's like totally something not even involved in esport. His brother runs a company that does something or other, and he got offered a position there. So he was like, "Cheers, VS Gaming, I'm out of here." So now we got Green Soup running the show. No problem.
No, that's wild.
We like green soup.
We do like Green Soup, which is fortunate, because when somebody leaves and a new guy comes in, it's a roll of the dice of like who you're gonna land up with. So yeah, as in terms of the options, Green Soup ain't a bad one. So good. And in fact, I've been trying to get him on the podcast. He assures me that there's going to be sexy looking graphics explaining all of this being done this week. And if it is done this week, we will get Green Soup on the show next week to come and help break it down and detail it off. Hopefully I haven't got too much wrong, Green Soup.
Yeah. Well, we love green soup, because imagine we got stuck with someone like Mr. Nobody. I mean, ugh.
Yeah, who is that?
Imagine getting stuck with Josh. That would be terrible.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Aina Payne. The next event on the calendar this weekend is an event by an org called Gildara. I'd never heard of them until Thursday when I saw they posted in the Bro Discord server. They were looking for teams to sign up for this event. And I was like, hey, what event is this? Tell me about it. Is it being streamed? Is it not being streamed? And I don't even know if it was streamed in the end. We were trying to solve that problem. And they tell me they are an org a relatively new org. The guy who runs the show there, a guy named Blake, is a GC1, he tells me, but he's not going to compete, but he wants to do stuff for the community and have tournaments. So they had a 2,000 Rand tournament over the weekend. So I guess everybody had the choice of either sign up for some points and no money for VS Gaming, or sign up for a crack at 2,000 Rand. And it was fairly evenly divided. I think there were 11 in the one, 13 in the other. And with almost no forewarning or promotion, and conflicting with another event, they didn't do too bad. And a lot of teams that I don't know, and I haven't looked into the rosters. And Eli, I don't know if you have any insight into the rosters here. I mean, you guys were in the finals. We'll get there. But like Exodus and Salty Sugar, do you know who these are? I don't know who they are.
Top tier teams, Grapey. Come on.
There you go. And then clearly the seeding was a bit of an issue, because you have Exodus against Salty Sugar and then Relentless against Genesix. That was a very unfortunate pairing in round one.
That was really unfortunate, honestly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So perhaps Blake, if you happen to be here, get in touch. Let's sort out the seeding, please. And then a team called Pure Girth, which is fun. Pure Girth, but no games won. They lost to the Brokes. Bromeo, you must know who the Brokes are.
Do you know what? I cannot claim to understand every time somebody makes a bro pun. So I will have to do some investigation and see if there's any copyright infringements happening here.
Wait,
Okay.
is Gildara South African or is it?
I'm assuming all of these. Oh yeah, they are South Africans. They're all local boys.
Well, Relentless has an EU guy in there.
Who?
No, I'm
Oh,
talking about
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
org. I'm talking about the
I
org,
say
not
that.
the
Yeah,
teams.
Gildara.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
G9.
Because I haven't heard of Blake before. Blake.
Balake.
And
Eliakim.
there's a divine who's like the admin and runs, but I don't think it's the divine we knew from RSC. But there you go. And then Pure Girth lost 4-0 to Brokes, and then Death Cloud Esport, Eli's new team against Barcelona, did well in round 1, did well in round 2, beating the Brokes 4-1, Relentless beating Exodus 4-0, and then in the final, Relentless beating Death Cloud Esports 4-1. Give us the breakdown. What happened there, Eli?
Oh, first run as the roster. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I think there's a part of Rocket League that you don't enjoy if you don't want to enjoy it. Like, I really enjoyed that series, win or lose.
Okay.
I really had a good time playing that series. I feel like the 4-1 doesn't really represent how it looks. But overall, as a first showing, not too bad. Happy.
Okay. And then
You could
Pepito.
say they were quite relentless.
Yeah, they were relentless, gents. It was too much
Okay.
for us, clearly.
You're a minimum of 9 months away from being allowed to make that joke, Sean. But very cool. And then Papito in chat says that Salty Sugar is Papito, Stolzy, and Jakes. So there we go. That's who they were. And then there is going to be a final, a 3,000 Rand final with the final 4. So that's Death Cloud, Brokes, Relentless, and Exodus. And I think that's Thursday a week from this Thursday. And hopefully that's being streamed. I'll find out and we'll punt that to go and support. So kind of like an invitational for those top 4 having a crack at that $3,000. So good luck. Hopefully a better result in that one for you, Eli.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
And shout out to Gildara. I've asked for more information. I want to have a conversation with them because they are now apparently they want to have a freestyler tournament and looking for some freestylers. So that would be very, very cool. That's a whole community that has by and large been ignored in the SSA scene. So
Where did they come from?
I don't know. I don't know. We've back and forth on Discord a little bit, but I need to have a real conversation with them. But they're starting strong. My concern though is if I had a few ront for all the very excited people and orgs who start things and who don't go on with things, I'd have more ronts than I have now. But I'm what are they? Tentatively, cautiously optimistic that Gildara will have a bit of impact on the scene. So, good luck to them. And if any of them are watching, make sure you get in touch and do the thing. That is that. Next up is, have I forgotten anything? I don't think so with regard to that. Now, 2025 is the 10th anniversary of Rocket League, which is mind blowing. So 10 years ago, and I have said, I have committed myself on Twitter to my 10th anniversary in Rocket League is going to be in August. I bought the game a month after it was released on the 8th of August, 2015. And I'm probably playing as cuck as I was playing in 2019. I actually don't even know how to play anymore. And I see Kirika was in chat. I don't know if she's still there, but I'm going to have a few sessions with her, see if she can clear my mind. Because in those 10 years, I've watched so many videos, had so many coaching sessions. And I don't even know what is the good advice I've had, what's the bad advice, what are the good habits, what are the bad habits. I'm a complete mess. But I've committed on Twitter that on or before my 10th anniversary, I will score a flip reset goal in a ranked game by then and clip it and post it out there. And I'm saying that with the great comfort of knowing I've got 6 months. By the middle
You
of
got
July,
this.
by the middle of July, I'm going to be a wreck.
You got
So
this, Greg.
I appreciate that encouragement. Now there have been some interesting tweets, and one of them that I wanted to have a look at is this one here by Alpha Cap, who posted this February the 15th. So 2 days ago, he posts on Twitter, 2025 is about to be the biggest thing ever for Rocket League. This shouldn't have got leaked. And if you read the replies, apparently Alpha Cap's a bit of a bait, an impression farmer.
That sounds like an impression farm.
A
bait.
clickbaiter. However,
bait.
there was one response from Lethamir, who was like, yeah, no, this, he was kind of like, yeah, this is probably the real deal. But I don't know. So if 2025 were to be the biggest thing ever for Rocket League, what would it be? I open the floor to chat and to the panel. What would make 2025 the biggest thing ever for Rocket League?
I'll start. There's lots of things that people would love for Rocket League, but my reality is Rocket League is already a perfect game. There isn't too much that you can add to it that would actively make it better. They could bring around a whole lot of quality of life features. # bring back trading.
Yeah. Eradicate the EU players.
Yeah. But I think if they're talking about like the actual part of Rocket League, I would think that, after 10 years, imagine a Rocket League 2.
Oh, wow.
Unreal Engine 5.
Every time someone talks about, something's coming or there's news in Rocket League, not everyone, a good 85% of the community goes, UE5, this is the time for UE5. But it would make sense because we first heard that there was a job listing like 3 years ago for someone who knows UE5. There was something in the coding which suggested something about a Rocket League 2. So there was definitely 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years ago, talk about UE5 for Rocket League. And we have heard zip, zilch, fork, haul about that since then. But it would make sense that the 10th anniversary would be the time, right?
What is the biggest thing? What is the biggest thing that Rocket League has ever seen? What is that? That is a very big question. I mean, that is a big statement. So I would assume that it is big, but not as big as what Alpha Cap is saying. Unreal Engine 5, Rocket League 2 is a massive stretch of the imagination, sadly. As much as I would love it, I don't know if Alpha Cap's talking about that. It could be esports related. I'm not sure. It could be trading related. If I were to get my best guess, it's going to be trading. That's what I'm saying.
So I've got a question now, or just more of a statement. So nobody in chat says if we upgraded to Unreal Engine 5 and it went to Rocket League 2, the mechanics would probably change.
Yes.
Look at CS2 on Source 2 guys. So
okay.
Like, do you think that if we change now, like Snowy would just retire because he doesn't want to learn a new game? He's been at the top for too long.
You know what? If there's anything that I've learned from, it's been a very shallow perspective of who Snowy is. From anything I've experienced competing with him, that's not what's gonna move him away. If anything, that's gonna encourage him to play more because there's a new side of the game, that we want to learn.
I mean, like, pick a pro. It could be any pro, but imagine being at the top of your game and then having to learn a new one.
That is so true. Big one.
Well, let's imagine a world. Rocket League 2 comes out, and the only reason I don't think it'll come is surely there has to be an extended beta period of Rocket League on UE5 before it's launched publicly, because there is, as you have pointed out, there will absolutely be changes to the game, and then there's probably Rocket League 2 would have to exist for 2 years before it switches competitively, in my mind anyway. I mean, and then there's people who in chat who don't seem too too excited about UE5 Green Super. What unoptimized slop is what he called it, and then SSAying. And this is a very real possibility that it does go to Unreal Engine 5, but we launch from Fortnite.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. I mean, we're talking about leaked Unreal Engine 5 code, and it was probably just some code for rocket racing. That's probably what it was.
I'm
Like
not
we,
saying
To be
that.
honest, I'm actually surprised Epic Games has other games on their platform.
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly right.
Damn.
Yeah, whether
Their
that
whole personality is a Fortnite kid, pretty much.
Well, I guess it's Fortnite for everyone, gents. Come on, let's do it.
we may all, and you know what, bringing back trading is not the biggest thing to ever happen. I mean, because that's literally bringing something back that we never had before, and I can't see that happening. But if it were to be the biggest thing, the only thing that fits under the category of the biggest thing ever would be would be Rocket League 2, a whole new launch of the game. Everything else would be amazing, but not the most amazing thing ever. Or the biggest thing ever. But we wait to see. And then the Dream Lizard makes a solid point. I have a hard time believing laying off half the staff is a prerequisite for releasing Unreal Engine 5, and that's probably that's a very, very solid point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, but probably in the end, this is all clickbait and impression farming from Alpha Kep, and well done. He's got some airtime on a random podcast in SSA for his.
This is what will happen for their little anniversary. We're all going to get a few extra exotic and black market drops, and they're going to give us a little event to get a pretty border or a goal explosion or two and some ugly ass wheels, and then that's the 25th anniversary.
But also Greybeard is going to hit a flip reset in ranked.
Yes.
And that shit is going to go hard and huge and viral.
Greybeard, that's fine. That's fine. I agree. But if you do it, then the replay needs to be casted by professional casters, and you need to play it on this podcast. So you need to have your Justin moment. There will be none of this bullshit of you sending us like a 20-second clip and going, "Oh, check this out."
Check what I
needs to
just
be
did.
properly done. There needs to be build up.
And then a Rumble truck. There we go. 10th anniversary. We'll all get 10 black market drops. So we'll all get alpha boosts. You complete
I don't even know if it is a black market, is it?
No, it's not. Whatever it is, but you complete 2 challenges and get alpha boost. There we go. That'll do it.
Really?
I wouldn't complain about that. I mean, they gave up black dices. So
yeah, and no one wears them anymore because they're worth shite. All right, so there we go. That's Rocket League's 10th anniversary. It may or may not be something to write home about. We can dream. And then streamer event. We are going to have South Africa's biggest outreach event ever. And by that, I mean reaching new people and bringing new people into Rocket League. This is going to be modeled on what was done in Japan about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where they had probably one of the most popular streamers in Japan got 16 streamers together who had never played or streamed Rocket League. And from nothing, they had this 2-day event. On day 1 was training these streamers how to play Rocket League. So as much as you can learn to play Rocket League in 4 or 5 hours, they learnt it. And then on day 2, there was a tournament. These 16 streamers went up against each other in a tournament. And obviously there were prizes, whatever. But the combined viewership was gargantuan. And I don't see us getting anywhere near that viewership. I mean, I think they were getting 40, 50,000 views on that event. And since then, there has been a massive influx of new players into Rocket League in Japan. Realize, who is Japan's biggest Rocket League star, biggest Rocket League pro, has been getting 2,000 to 3,000 viewers on his streams every time he goes live. And these are mostly people new to the game. And just imagine, you know what?
Good for him, man.
I know, right?
Wow.
Can you imagine? There are days where I wish I knew nothing about Rocket League, because the sheer awe and wonder of discovering the game was just amazing.
Beautiful.
And
It's
there
so
are,
cool.
yeah,
We miss those days.
Greatest
we
game
do miss
on
those
planet
days.
Earth by far.
Raging in like Gold 3 because our teammates asked.
And it was just incredible. And so we got to watch out for Japan. Hopefully, within the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see the Japanese players making an influx into RLCS. We'll see how that pans out.
Oh God!
So we want to do something similar here, and we're going to do this event in June, July. We're still figuring out the date. I have a meeting with ACGL tomorrow. They have expressed an interest in managing the event, and then it's going to be a matter of recruiting the best and the biggest streamers in South Africa to come on board to this. So there are streamers that you know of that you think would be good. These are streamers who don't know anything about Rocket League, have never played it, have never gotten involved with it. Get me their names. I want to make a long potential list of streamers that we should be approaching and getting involved with this. We do already have Slayer Energy Drink on board as a partner, and they will be involved with this. And in fact, Goose from Slayer Drink will be on this podcast in 3 weeks' time. And we will need partners to... We want to do all sorts of things. We want to do giveaways. Maybe we can tie in Comic-Con tickets, because that's a whole other thing. I want to have the biggest Rocket League crowd this world has ever seen at Comic-Con for the LAN. But we'll come back to that. But so we're looking for partners, and this is going to be the perfect event for sponsors to get involved with. We will have guaranteed viewership if we get the right streamers on board, and it's a chicken and egg thing. We need the sponsors to get the streamers. We need the streamers for the sponsors, and hopefully we can marry this all up and just have a massive event. The day of this event, the weekend of this event, has got to be the biggest thing going on in gaming in all of South Africa. Everything gaming needs to stop to come and watch what's going on with this event. So that is the plan. And tomorrow I'll be meeting, as I've said, with ACGL. We're going to plan it all out, and then we're going to make our recruitment list and go out and get these streamers. So get me the names of who you think should be on there, because outside of Rocket League, I know squadouche about the content creators and the streamers that are out there. So Kerika, when you say how big should the streamer be, if you think they might be big enough, get me their name. There's obviously, in an ideal world we get these names, in a real world we get those names. So if you're thinking of somebody, tell me who they are. And I'm clearly very excited about this. And if we do it right, I think this can be hopefully get us a few hundred more, maybe even 1,000 new players. And that is important. Growing the base has got to be one of the most important things we do for the long-term future of RLCS. And if we can get another 30, 40 or 50 Devourers, Ravies, Willens, T-Shows, Eagles in there, that is great news, because they don't have the problems I have in trying to get good at Rocket League. So that's the streamer event. I'll keep you all posted on that as it goes. And then 1v1s. The resumption of 1v1s is this week. I don't have a final roster of the matchups that'll be this week. We do have Ravi and T-Show as the headline event, and they are both winners of 1v1 show matches, and those two going up against one another.
I think Lackstar and Olympic need to 1v1. Just,
That's an old
Lackstar and Olympic. Ouch.
I think it'd be great.
But this one looks good. I'm gonna tune in for this one for sure.
So that's the headline event. Now the big news, which I am enormously thrilled with, is that I have been granted match admin privileges and permission to use them for the 1v1 show matches. So if there are technical issues, I can pause the game. While those get sorted out, we can restart the game. We can, whatever we need to do, I have God powers for the 1v1 show matches. And And Bromeo and Sean, I'm not going to announce the rest of that news because we haven't discussed how we're releasing that news. Just so you know, I realize I didn't discuss any of this with you prior to stream. So I'm not talking about it for that reason. And once we figure out how we're going public with it, we will bring it onto the podcast. So there you go. That will be on Wednesday night, 6:30 on this very channel. So tune in for the 1v1 show matches. There's a 1,000 Rand prize pool for the night. It gets split amongst the 3 show matches. For the winners, the losers get a high five for coming along. That Dream Lizard followed the channel. Thank you very much. Good to have you. Welcome to the madness. And before we get to the birthdays, and there are a lot of them this week, I got some late information that I didn't have time to add to my cute little agenda on the side, and that is to do with ACGL, a couple of things with them. Let's go here. All right, so ACGL has ranked ladders, and there's 10,000 Rand up for grabs, and I don't know why our community are not getting more and more involved with this. And you can see the schedule here. It's basically Monday to Sunday, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Go and play these ranked ladders. You can then be invited to a tournament. There's 10,000 Rand up for grabs, so get involved with this. And Yoshi, maybe you can explain to me why the community's not jumping all over this. But what are you going to do?
Gildaro event.
But this is all in the off time. 6 p.m. I mean,
I think it's because it relies on the players more than the tournament organizer.
I'll give a small little problem that I would think some players such as Zany would run into, right? This is a tournament that is exclusively for SSA players, and we have rosters in the RLCS that are full teams that are not full SSA rosters. So we're going to have random SSA top tier players that just don't know what to do or where to go for these small tournaments. They might not even join it, right? So that's also another concern.
I 2 points. A, I agree with you on that. B, in my mind, this should be intended, not even, this is like bubble players.
Yeah.
Like your 6-man's people, all those guys who are anywhere from sort of champ 1 to high champ 3, there or thereabouts, who
100%.
who want to have something to compete in. This is where they should be. This is Limitless, Death Cloud Esports. This is not where you're going to be. This is not the sort of thing where you're going to be honing your skills and getting better and climbing whatever ladder. I think this is
but grab it. For this ladder thing, sorry guys, for this ladder thing, the players have to go create their team, then they have to create their own event, and then have to get another team to play against in order to get the points to get on this ladder. So, and players are lazy.
Not only that, there was a mention of a potential LAN, right? Once you mention those 3 little letters, you get all the top teams just coming around. So if there's a mention of a LAN opportunity, we're probably going to see some top teams in this for sure.
I think there's definitely going to be an ACGL LAN. Whether, I don't know if the ladder contributes points toward that. I'm not sure about that. Do you know, Eli?
I mean, from what I know, apparently it might contribute to a potential LAN at the end of the year. That's from what I've heard. Not 100% sure on that, but from what I know is, from my side of things, from what I've heard, it is viable for a player like me or even a player like Snowy at that top tier to join this. They want to join this. They want to be a part of it. As much as the C1 should be a part of this, I think the top guys will, just purely based off of, the potential, winnings and opportunities that arise from this. So, yeah, we'll see.
All righty. Well, if you want to play in this ladder, if you've got friends, more casual friends, get them involved in this. This is the perfect place for that forgotten middle of Rocket League.
I think for this, it would be another one of those situations like we had when it was that. What was that event that ACGL did where we all banded together?
Oh God!
Do you remember?
Mythic, the Mythic Challenge.
Yes. This is similar to that. it would have to have someone to get a bunch of people together, whether it's all the teams together, and then just running a bunch of scrims or matches against each other in order for them to gather their points. So it's like someone has to take initiative and get everybody like bundled together to set up the events in ACGL in order to do something about it.
There are two important distinctions from the Mythic thing. One is that it's teams, not individuals.
Yes,
So you have to play with your team. And secondly, there is money involved. Mythic was work your ass off and maybe there's a tournament, which there wasn't in the end, which was great. The only 12 stream I've ever done and will ever do was in aid of that Mythic tournament. But anyway, this should be promoted. And we do. To me, this highlights the problem we have. We got sort of low-level players, and then we've got the guys at the top, and that middle section is a bit of a problem. They are there because I'm playing them in my cuck ranks right now, so they definitely are there, but I don't know how to talk to these guys and tell them, bro, there's a whole world out of there of Rocket League for you, but it is almost impossible to reach those players unless they are looking themselves. So if anybody ever has any ideas about how we can reach the random people that play Rocket League that have no idea that there's tournaments and communities and all these wonderful things, please do let me know so we can get them connected up. But that's a struggle. And you'd think Rocket League would make that easy, but
a small thing on top of that, like I have a video on my TikTok from 4 years ago, and I get comments still to this day. Every now and then I get a comment from a South African guy going, "I'm C1, can I play with you?" Or what? It's people that have no clue about the scene, And you got to think, like, how many players are out there that have no clue about this? It's probably a lot. So
all right,
we can get a lot involved.
So I have, and I paid good money for this, and I realize a website is not exactly 2025, but I did make a website, and the entire purpose of this website is to promote Rocket League in the region, and this website has galleries, so all the photos we take at LANs and whatever, you can see that. Who are the content creators? So you click there, you get all the content creators. Events. What is the calendar of events for Rocket League tournaments? Coaches. You want some coaching? These are the people who will give you some coaching. And then all the communities you can join. The Discord, Six Mans, VS Gaming, VS High School, Cosmico, Bro Community, Xenon Esports, Unity Discord, RSC. So if you ever come across people who want to know things, send them to greybeard.gg and they can get connected up to the community. There we go. The self-promotion portion of the podcast will conclude now.
You've got to drive traffic towards your webpage then. It's the only way it becomes useful.
And then of course nobody's like, oh, where's the RLCS Discord? Yeah, good point. I haven't put the RLCS Discord there. I'll fix that problem. Nobody.
Come on, Josh. Don't mention the cloud, Josh.
It's not important.
I don't get, wow, that's a great looking website. I just get, where's my link?
Where's me?
But we will get, where are the ads? Yeah, good point. Okay, so that's the ACGL ladder. And then while we're with ACGL, they also have, so VS High Schools is a bit problematic. There's only 20 schools that have signed up for VS. And I believe registration closes on Wednesday. So that's a little low, which is problematic. But ACGL have 50, 60 teams there or thereabouts. And there is on the ACGL Twitch once a week, there will be high school teams being streamed, high school matches being streamed, which is really, really cool. So African Esports, the ACGL main channel, at 5:30 every Tuesday. And that's going to be hosted by and cast by Sun Phoenix. And most people will not know who he is, but he has cast a few things. He has been in and around the Rocket League scene. And then coming over from Valorant is Samantha Timms, and I can't remember her. I will tell you now what she's more broadly known as.
So you just used her government name first in this place.
Yeah, I know, right? Nauri Mizuki, I think it is.
Okay, Ryan Hogarth.
She wants to get into into casting Rocket League, which is very, very cool. So I'm excited to see them, and maybe they are potential content creators, casters, personalities in the scene, and a woman involved in Rocket League. Someone to keep Kirika company, because man, oh man, it's a dearth out there, which is problematic. So yeah, Tuesday night, schedule that. So tomorrow night, 17:30, go and check out High School Rocket League. And I think that was all from ACGL, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, that's more on the ladder. Yeah, that was it. So that then brings us to birthdays. So we can get rid of that. And there are a fair number of them. And I'm going to apologize in advance, because one of the people who had a birthday this week is Harmonic. And I was very conflicted as to whether to include him or not. And in the end, I decided not. Harmonic, you understand why, but now you have the reason, and you'll know why your name doesn't appear on the following list. So these are the birthdays in the last week. First up, on the 11th, Musty turned 2024, and he's got fuck all to do with SSA, but he is the namesake of the old Musty flick, so I thought we should at least say, Musty, happy birthday. There we go. A big name in the region, there for a long time, and part of the OGs who helped to build the scene. And then next up, on the 13th, Ramsey turned 19. Now, Ramsey also one, I was like, do we include him or not? He's not from SSA, but he is North African, from Algeria, playing in the RLCS. And yeah, so because of that, because he's African, happy birthday to Ramsey. Turned 19 on last Thursday. And then here's a name. I don't even know if you guys know this now. Sean, you must know Eugen. Bromeo, do you know Eugen?
I have not seen Eugen in forever.
I would love to know where Eugen was. He played the first 2 seasons of RLCS. I liked him a lot. Was a name, and now he's just vanished.
What a guy.
Well, there you go.
I mean, the one regional, I got to his house and played the regional. He's super awesome guy, super nice teammate. Definitely amazing SSA player. Paved the way for a lot of the players.
He was such a good player as well.
Super good.
So Eugen, where are you? We need you back in the scene. Come and coach. Come and be involved in Rocket League wherever you are. But to Eugen, happy birthday, turning 31 this past Saturday. Happy birthday to you. And then next up, local boy through and through, Teacher One, who yesterday turned 19. So, Teacher, happy birthday.
I can't believe he's only 19. It feels like he's been in the scene forever.
Well, listen, he's been involved in the scene as long as I've been involved in the scene. So he's always been around, and he's almost old enough to be a teacher. And then next up is today, on this very day, Shadow, or also known as Shadow Hunter. And I didn't put his full name there because I didn't have enough space, so I just went with Shadow. He turns 24. So, happy birthday, Shadow. Now living in Portugal. Tried his hand at playing RLCS from Europe. Came out, played for Apex for a split. Didn't quite work out. Stayed with Epidex, and apparently came very close to eating Epidex out of his house. So got quite an appetite on him, apparently. So happy birthday to you. Oh, there we go. Eugen. Oh, you played. Did you ever team with Eugen, Eli?
Yeah. I was on Digital Devils.
That's right.
Digital Devils.
Okay.
4-man roster. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Eugen played in Digital Devils as well.
And I kind of nobody's pointed out that he played in Digital Devils, and I remember that with you, Eli. Sure.
No.
Long time ago. And then I think our final one is Dazarin, also today, turning 29. Nothing to do with SSA, but a personality in the scene, so why not? Happy birthday, Dazrin. And now in direct opposition to the Just Saying podcast, First Touch are now on a Monday evening as well. So that's fun and games. So if we do go and raid them, which we've done twice in a row, hopefully there's somebody else to raid. We'll see how we go. And I think that's everybody. No, there is one more. Also today, now nobody, I say nobody, and I mean nobody in chat. Josh is going to know who Not Blonde Monkey is. Nobody else will. Fabulous guy, turns 22 today, and he is the regional manager for MENA. Ben, Not Blonde Monkey, happy birthday to you, turning 22 years old today. Eli, your expectations for the qualifier this weekend. This will be your second run as a roster. Yeah. How deep and how far do you believe you can go?
I like the flow of the team, so I'm gonna go and say main event out the bat, which is a result I feel like in general I should expect myself to get. But with recent results, I'm gonna go and put main event as my first goal with Stratic and Jeff. I think we can do it. It's difficult, it's not easy, but main event, we'll do it. So That's my expectation. Yeah.
Main event, we will be watching, and of course I will be streaming. I'll be watch partying it all, so keeping an eye on all those team streams. So come and hang, come and support. And I know Death Cloud Esports does have their own stream, so which is a massive shout out. And by and large, I think we have more team streams this season than we've ever had before. And for me, any improvement in content is huge. So shout out to all the orgs and individuals who are team streaming. And then Eli, thanks for coming to hang. And any closing thoughts from you?
No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, man. No, stay tuned for the Guilders 9 top 4. I'll be there. If you want to watch it, you can, stop by one of the streams. You can watch that. And then obviously, stay tuned for the RLCS. Appreciate having me and let's make something out of this. Yeah.
Death Cloud making improvements. First regional made top 32, or didn't make top 30. No, made top 32, but not top 16. Second regional made top 16.
I think so, yeah.
So let's see. You got to go at least that far and maybe squeeze into that top 8, which would be banger if it is possible. And that is going to wrap it up. So, guys, thank you all very much for coming to hang. It's been a banger of a podcast. I will see you on Wednesday night for the 1v1s. I'll see you again over the weekend for the watch parties. But from me, from Bromeo, from Falcon, and from our guest panelist tonight, Eli, peace. We are